Lucas Hart had everything a man could buy. Land that stretched farther than the eye could see. A mansion standing tall like a king's fortress. Horses worth more than most homes. And a bank account heavy enough to silence any problem. Except the one that mattered. 2 years had passed since the accident. 2 years since the world went silent in a way no amount of wealth could fill. Lucas tried everything. Travel, fast horses, loud nights, long empty mornings. But grief clung to him like winter frost, cold, unforgiving, silent. So he ran. Not from danger, but from memories. From the laughter that used to echo in the hallways. From a future he no longer understood. One evening, a storm rolled across the open plains, turning peaceful fields into angry waves of wind and rain. His truck skidded off the muddy road, tires sinking into wet earth. His rage rose. Even nature was determined to break him. But the ranch he stumbled upon wasn't his own. Faded fence posts leaned like tired soldiers. A barn roof hung open to the weather. And in the center of chaos stood 2 figures, elderly, determined, working with the slow, steady rhythm of people who had seen storms far worse than this one. Samuel and June Miller. Wrinkles carved by time, hands thick with labor. Eyes bright with something Lucas had forgotten. Purpose. They did not run. They did not complain. They fought the storm, not with money, not with anger, but with quiet faith and stubborn hearts. Lucas offered cash, a lot of it, enough to hire a crew, rebuild in days. Samuel simply wiped rain from his brow and smiled. Son, storms don't destroy a life. Running from them does. If you want to help, grab a shovel. Lucas froze. No one talked to him like that anymore. No one expected anything from him but his wallet. That night, soaked to the bone. Hands blistered, boots heavy with mud. Lucas felt something he hadn't felt in years. Not joy, not hope, but a spark, small, fragile, real. And sometimes, a spark is the beginning of a life rebuilt. The morning on the Miller's farm didn't greet Lucas with comfort. It greeted him with aching muscles, stiff joints, and the unfamiliar sting of honest labor. He woke up not in a silk-lined bedroom, but in an old guest room smelling of cedar and thyme. For a moment, he thought it was a nightmare manual work. Muddy boots by the door, and roosters instead of alarms. But then he looked out the window. Samuel was already outside, splitting wood with slow, practiced swings. June hung wet clothes on a line, steady and patient. Lucas stepped out, unsure why his feet carried him forward instead of back to his truck. Pride, curiosity, or maybe that spark from last night refused to die. Samuel didn't greet him with warm praise. No applause for showing up. The old man simply handed him gloves and nodded. Fence posts fell by the eastern pasture. Storm took half of M. We're putting M back. Lucas frowned. I could hire a crew and miss the point again. Samuel didn't even slow his swing. Money doesn't fix a man, son. Work does. It stung. Not because Samuel mocked him, but because somewhere deep, Lucas knew it was true. Hours passed. Lucas hammered, carried wood, dug holes. Every motion felt clumsy, foreign. Sweat soaked through his shirt. Blisters bloomed, angry and raw. June brought lemonade and bread, smiling like he had done something heroic instead of simply not walking away. Good hands, Lucas, she said gently. They just forgot what they were made for. Her voice held no judgment, only kindness. A kind he hadn't felt in years, since the world he loved was stolen in a moment of twisted metal and sirens. They ate on the porch. No grand table, no crystal glasses. Just sunshine, creaking wood, and peace so heavy it made his chest ache. June opened a thin leather Bible, pages soft from decades of fingers. She read quietly, simple words about patience, trial, and renewal. Lucas didn't listen at first, but he couldn't ignore the calm in her voice, the steadiness in Samuel's eyes. "You lost something big, son," Samuel said finally. "Storms don't leave a man untouched. But if you stop living, then the storm wins twice." Lucas stared at his hands, blistered, dirty, trembling. For the first time in years, he didn't feel powerful. But he didn't feel empty either. And maybe, just maybe, healing didn't start with running, but with staying. The second day brought no mercy, only expectation. Lucas woke before sunrise, not because he wanted to, but because Samuel knocked on the door once and walked away. No speeches. No soft reminders. Work started at dawn, like the world itself demanded it. Outside, mist rolled across the pasture, wrapping the land in pale silver. It was quiet, not the heavy silence of grief, but the living silence of mourning, where breath and earth seemed to move together. Lucas breathed it in. He didn't know why it felt different. Today's task was uglier. Mud, broken boards, tangled wire. The storm had torn up a cattle pen near the creek. Samuel handed Lucas a tool belt and simply said, "Let's set things right." There was something sacred in the simplicity. A problem. A solution. No endless thoughts. No polished excuses. Just hands and effort. Lucas struggled. He cursed under his breath when nails bent, when wood slipped, when old strength in Samuel's arms outshined his gym-built muscle. But for the first time in a long time, his anger didn't spiral into bitterness. It burned, then faded, replaced by grit he forgot he had. Halfway through the morning, a small pickup rattled down the dirt road. A young mother and two little kids hopped out. They brought warm biscuits and jars of peach preserves. The children ran to Samuel, hugging him without hesitation. "Mr. Miller helped fix our roof last spring," the woman said to Lucas softly. Noticing his confusion, "We don't have much, but we repay kindness best we can." Lucas watched, stunned. Samuel accepted the food like it was gold, thanking them as if he received a feast fit for royalty. When the family left, Lucas finally asked, "You help them, and they help you?" Samuel chuckled. "That's what neighbors do. A world falls apart when folks forget that." Those words sunk deep. Lucas thought of his estate, miles of fence, staff who followed orders but never stayed for coffee, gates locked tighter than his own heart. Wealth didn't build community. Habit did. Humility did. By evening, his body was a storm of aches. But something inside him felt strangely steady, like soil soaking. Rain after drought. June met them at the porch with warm stew and quiet pride. "You're learning," she said simply. Lucas didn't argue. He didn't joke. He only nodded. Because, for the first time in years, he realized he was not just surviving days. He was living them. By the end of the third day, Lucas had stopped checking his phone. The device lay silent on the nightstand, forgotten beneath a thin layer of dust and wood shavings. Out here, time didn't move by notifications, it moved by sunrise, sweat, and the rhythm of work and prayer. On this morning, the sky blushed pink as the sun pushed over the horizon. The world looked washed clean, like a promise whispered in light. Lucas pulled on his boots slowly, feeling the soreness in muscles that once only knew polished, gyms and expensive saddles. This soreness felt different, earned, deserved. Outside, June was feeding chickens, humming a tune that sounded older than the land itself. Samuel leaned against a fence post, sharpening a tool with calm confidence, the kind a man earned through decades of battle with wind, soil, and life. "Today," Samuel said, handing Lucas a weathered tool bag, "we start on the foundation." Lucas blinked. "Foundation? For the barn?" "For life," Samuel replied, almost amused. Then he nodded toward a corner of their property where storm-flattened boards lay in a sad heap. "But yes, the barn, first." They walked through dew-soaked grass. Birds scattered from fence rails. A distant cow called in the early quiet. Lucas inhaled deeply. The air tasted like earth and freedom, not perfume and polished marble floors. The task was daunting, digging trenches, leveling ground, hauling stones. Lucas stared at the piles, overwhelmed for a moment. His old instinct whispered, "Hire 10 men. Finish it in a day." But that voice didn't feel like strength anymore. It felt like fear, fear of effort, fear of stillness, fear of feeling. So he grabbed a shovel. The hours crawled. Sweat dripped from his brow. Soil clung to his jeans. His palms burned, blistered, hardened. But instead of frustration, there was clarity. Every strike of the shovel sank him deeper into the present. There was no past tragedy clawing at his heart, no future demanding answers. Only dirt, breath, effort, and purpose. During a short break, Samuel leaned on his shovel and wiped his forehead. "You know," he said softly, "a broken heart is like land after a storm." Lucas looked up, breathing hard. "How's that?" "Looks ruined. Feels hopeless. But if you tend it slowly, patiently, it can grow something stronger than before." Lucas stared at the ground. Soil sticking to his hands, stronger. He didn't know if he believed it yet. But for the first time, he wanted to. June's voice floated from the porch, calling them for lunch. Before walking back, Lucas paused, looking at the small trench they had dug. It wasn't much, but it was real. It was a beginning. And beginnings mattered. As they headed toward the house, Samuel's voice broke the quiet again. "You're not just rebuilding a barn, son. You're rebuilding a man." Lucas didn't answer. His throat tightened. His chest ached, not from work, but from something heavier. Something waking after a long sleep. By late afternoon, clouds gathered again, heavy and gray, dragging shadows across the fields. Lucas wiped dirt from his face, surprised by how natural it felt now, like dust was something earned, not avoided. The barn foundation was still only a skeleton of trenches and measurements, but to him, it looked like a monument. Proof that he could build something instead of watching life collapse around him. Proof that forward was still a direction he could walk. When thunder rumbled in the distance, Samuel didn't hurry. He simply lifted his eyes to the sky, with the calm recognition of a man who has made peace with nature long ago. "Storms coming," he murmured. "Good day's work. Good sweat. Let's get things covered." Together they dragged tarps, weighted them with stones, tied down wood piles. Lucas worked without instruction. Now, muscle memory developing where hesitation used to live. His movements had purpose, not panic. And yet, as lightning flickered over the hills, his chest tightened, not with fear of the storm, but fear of stillness that came after it. Activity had become a refuge, a shield against thoughts he still couldn't face. Inside the house, rain began to drum the roof in steady waves. June handed Lucas a towel and warm socks with the soft authority only a kind woman carries. "Sit, dry off. Soup's on the stove." He obeyed. It was odd, command from a gentle voice felt safer than freedom ever had. Samuel sat across from him at the kitchen table, steam swirling from mugs of tea. The old man didn't speak for a long time. Silence with him wasn't uncomfortable. It was like soil resting before another season of growth. Finally, Samuel leaned back, studying Lucas with eyes that had seen far more life than pain alone. "You've got a storm inside you that's louder than the one outside," he said quietly. Lucas stiffened. Everyone has storms. Not everyone tries to bury theirs in gold. The words hit like a hammer. Lucas's jaw clenched. He stared at his hands, rough and red. Nothing like the polished, perfect ones people used to shake at charity events and business meetings. "I thought money could fix things," Lucas whispered. "It can fix roofs," Samuel replied. "But it can't fix souls." The rain intensified, a curtain of sound. Lucas felt something inside him, a truth scraping raw edges he'd buried deep. "I lost my family," he said, voice breaking on the last word. He never spoke it aloud. Not once since the funeral. It tasted like sorrow and release. Samuel didn't offer empty comfort, didn't pat his shoulder or speak cliches. He just nodded slowly. "You loved deep," he said. "That kind of love leaves deep wounds. You don't heal by running from where it hurts." Lucas swallowed, throat tight. "And you think building a barn will fix me?" he muttered, half bitter, half pleading for it to be true. Samuel shook his head. The storm rolled away before sunrise, leaving the world washed and shining, like dawn had polished every blade of grass. Lucas stepped outside and breathed in the cool air. The land smelled of rain, soil, and renewal. Not the sterile scent of polished marble and air-conditioned halls, but life, raw and honest. Samuel was already up, leaning on a fence, coffee steaming in his hand. He didn't greet Lucas with a good morning. He simply nodded. The kind of nod men share when words aren't needed. "Ground's soft today," Samuel said. "Best time to set stones. Earth's ready." Lucas liked how he said it, as if the land and its moods mattered as much as people. As if patience was part of strength, not weakness. They walked to the barn site together. Frogs croaked near puddles, and birds hopped along fence lines, shaking water from their wings. The trenches they dug yesterday held rainwater, reflecting the pink morning sky like small broken mirrors. Lucas rolled up his sleeves. "Let's do it." He didn't say it out of obligation. He meant it. For the first time, the work didn't feel like punishment. It felt like purpose. Each stone they placed into the foundation carried weight. Not just on the ground, but in his chest. Each thud of rock against earth sounded like something inside him settling back into place. Around mid-morning, a car pulled up the dirt road, unfamiliar, shiny. Lucas stiffened. The door opened, and Mark Dalton stepped out, Lucas's business partner. Tailored jacket, expensive shoes, hairstyled like time itself bowed for him. Mark scanned the farm like he'd stumbled into another planet. "Luke, I've been trying to reach you. You vanished. No calls, no messages. Your staff didn't know where you were." Lucas wiped sweat from his brow. "I needed air." "Air?" Mark laughed sharply. "You owned 5 vacation homes and a private jet. You could have chosen Paris, not whatever this place is." He waved a hand as though the earth offended him. Samuel watched silently, leaning on his shovel. He didn't interfere. But he didn't step away either. He simply existed, steady as a tree, letting Lucas choose who he wanted to be. Mark lowered his voice. "Look, the company needs you back. Investors are nervous. You walking away like this, they're calling you unstable." The word pierced, deep, unstable. The same whisper that haunted him? Since loss turned his world inside out, Lucas stared at his blistered hands. Dirt stained into lines where wealth once pretended nothing could touch him. "Maybe I am," he said quietly. "Or maybe I'm just tired of pretending I'm fine." Mark sighed sharply, frustrated. "You're grieving, I get it. But you don't fix pain by playing farmer." Lucas looked at the foundation stones. Imperfect, heavy, real. "I'm not playing," he said softly. "I'm learning." Mark shook his head. "Call me when you're ready to return to reality." He didn't wait for a reply, just turned and left, tires spitting mud. Mark's car disappeared down the dusty road, but his words lingered like smoke in the air. For a moment, Lucas felt the old pressure return, the invisible weight of expectations, polished smiles, and boardroom silence. The world he came from demanded performance, not healing. Results, not honesty. But when he turned back toward the barn site, the weight loosened. Samuel hadn't moved. He stood quietly, hands resting on the shovel. Gaze steady and patient, not demanding, not judging, just present. "You good?" Samuel finally asked. Lucas took a slow breath. "I think so." The old man nodded. "Good storm inside you passed quicker than the one outside." They returned to work. It felt different now, not just physical labor, but an act of defiance against the life that once controlled him. Each stone he lifted, each shovel of earth he moved, felt like reclaiming ground inside himself too. By noon, they had a steady line of foundation stones set in place. June brought sandwiches and iced tea, her apron still dusted with flour. She didn't ask about the visitor. She didn't need to. June always knew what belonged to silence and what belonged to speech. "Bad news?" she asked gently. "Old news," Lucas replied. "I think I'm just done letting life push me around." A slow smile softened her face. "Good, a storm can shake you. Only you decide whether it roots you or uproots you." They ate on the porch steps. Chickens pecked near their boots, and the air hummed with insects waking in the warming day. Lucas looked at his blistered palms again. At first, he hated the soreness, the raw skin. Now, he saw them differently. These hands weren't symbols of brokenness, they were proof he was changing. After lunch, as they returned to the field, a young boy approached along the fence line. Barefoot, thin, maybe 9 or 10, with hair the wind refused to tame. He held a fishing pole made of a stick and string. "You folks need help?" the boy asked shyly. Samuel smiled. "Always." The boy set his pole down and immediately began hauling small stones without being asked. Lucas watched him, curiosity sparking. "You live nearby?" The boy nodded. "Miss June gives me books sometimes. Says every kid deserves a library." His face brightened with pride. "I'm reading one about a knight." Lucas felt something warm stir inside, a memory of reading bedtime stories. Tiny hands grabbing his sleeve. A small voice asking for just one more page. It hit him unexpectedly, like sunlight breaking through clouds. Not pain, remembrance, gentle, human. "What's your name?" Lucas asked softly. "Tommy." He worked with them until shadows stretched long across the grass. When he finally headed home, Samuel clapped Lucas on the shoulder. "You see," the old man said, "work isn't just about wood and nails. It builds more than buildings." Lucas nodded, watching the boy disappear down the road. Autumn slipped across the land quietly, trading warm gold mornings for sharp, breath-white dawns. The air tasted colder, Wind moved with purpose, and leaves abandoned branches like they knew what was coming. Winter approached, the kind that didn't ask permission. Lucas woke one morning to frost lacing the windows. His breath fogged in the chilly air as he pulled on wool layers. It wasn't comfortable, but comfort no longer felt like the point. He stepped outside and saw a thin layer of white on the ground, glittering like powdered glass. Samuel stood near the barn site, studying the sky like a man who could read weather the way others read newspapers. His coat was old, patched at the elbows, but he wore it with the quiet dignity of someone who never needed new to be whole. "We need the roof frame up before the first heavy snow," Samuel said. "Winter won't wait, and walls don't raise themselves." Lucas nodded. He no longer hesitated at difficult tasks. The old Lucas Hollow, restless, drowning in silence, would have hired a team. This version picked up a hammer. As they worked, Tommy arrived again, cheeks pink from the cold, books tucked under his arm. "School's closed," he announced proudly. "Frozen pipe." Samuel raised a brow. "And you figured frozen pipes mean free labor for the day." Tommy grinned. "I like helping." Lucas handed him a small bucket of nails. "Then you're hired." Tommy followed him around eagerly, peppering him with questions about horses, hammer swings, and if cowboys ever cried. Lucas paused. In the past, he would have laughed that question away. But now he answered with truth. "Everyone cries," he said softly. "Some just hide it better." Tommy studied him for a long moment, then nodded like he'd been given a secret he wasn't sure he was ready for. Around midday, as wind picked up, June came out with warm stew and blankets. She watched Lucas hammering beams with a rhythm steady and sure. "You work like someone who's found their reason," she said, handing him a bowl. Lucas took it, letting steam warm his face. "Maybe I'm still finding it." June smiled. "Sometimes purpose isn't discovered, it grows." Before Lucas could respond, Samuel staggered. Subtle, barely noticeable, but Lucas caught it. The old man's hand trembled briefly before he gripped a beam for support. His face paled, breath short for a moment. "Samuel..." Lucas stepped toward him. The old man straightened quickly, forcing a faint laugh. "Just winded. Happens." But Lucas wasn't convinced. His chest tightened with worry, a feeling he'd tried to seal away. A reminder of what losing felt like. For the first time since arriving, fear returned, not fear of storms outside, but storms that lived in the body, silent and merciless. Because Lucas knew this truth too well. Life didn't only break things with weather. Sometimes it did so quietly, from the inside. And the thought of losing another anchor made the cold bite deeper than the wind ever could. For the rest of the afternoon, Lucas watched Samuel more closely than the nails he drove into wood. The old man moved slower, his breaths deeper, his pauses a little longer. Pride kept him steady, but age whispered truth with every step. Lucas knew that whisper. It was the same voice that trailed doctors' halls. The same one he tried to drown in empty luxury and motion. The voice that said life gives, and life takes. When the sun dipped low and shadows stretched long, Samuel finally called it. "That's enough for today." Lucas wanted to push, to finish, to outrun the worry rising inside him. But the farm followed a wisdom. Different from his old world, some days were earned through effort, others through knowing when to rest. Inside, the fire crackled in the stove. June stirred a pot, humming softly, her eyes drifting to Samuel more often than usual. A quiet language between soulmates who had shared decades and storms. Lucas sat at the table, uneasy. like a storm had entered the house, even though the weather outside was still. June turned to him. "You're worried." He didn't deny it. He almost fell. Samuel chuckled weakly. "Old doors creak. Doesn't mean they're ready to fall off." Lucas frowned. "You don't have to pretend." The old man leaned back, studying him for a long moment. "Son, you can't protect people from time." "I'm not trying to protect you from time," Lucas replied quietly. "I just don't want to lose anyone else." Silence settled heavy and real. June's eyes softened, not with pity, but with understanding. "You loved deeply," she whispered. "Love doesn't leave scars. It leaves space, aching until filled again." Tommy sat quietly in a corner, turning pages of a worn book, pretending not to listen. But Lucas knew he heard every word. Kids always hear the things adults try to hide. After dinner, Samuel settled in his chair by the fire. June covered him with a blanket, her hand lingering on his shoulder a moment longer than usual. Lucas stepped outside to breathe. The night sky stretched wide and full of stars, clear, cold, infinite. He used to stare at city skylines like they could answer pain. But here, the stars didn't pretend to fix anything. They simply reminded him life was bigger than suffering and smaller than pride. Footsteps shuffled behind him. Tommy emerged, hugging a coat around his tiny frame. "Is Mr. Samuel sick?" Lucas swallowed. "He's tired. Strong men get tired too." Tommy nodded like he was memorizing the lesson. "You gonna stay?" The question landed unexpectedly. Stay meant choosing something, not running, not escaping, not hiding. Lucas looked back at the farmhouse, warm windows glowing, shadows moving inside, a place built on patience, faith, and worn hands. Winter arrived like a quiet judge, not violently, but with certainty. Frost thickened, wind carried the smell of snow, and the barn frame now stood tall against the pale horizon. What started as scattered boards had become structure ribs of a future shelter, bones of hope. Lucas stood beneath the beams at sunrise, breath turning to mist. His hammer hung at his side, not idle, but resting, like him. Every muscle ached, yet he felt stronger than ever, not just in body, but in spirit. Inside the farmhouse, he heard June moving softly, kettle whistling, pages turning in her worn Bible. Samuel had slept later than usual. Age and winter made peace together in his bones. But Lucas didn't panic this time. Fear no longer led him, responsibility did. Tommy arrived, bundled in a coat too big for him, mittens hanging by strings. His cheeks pink, his grin unstoppable. "Snow's comin'," he announced like a town crier. "Mom says storms build character." Lucas smiled faintly. "She sounds like Samuel." Tommy shrugged. "Grown-ups, like lessons." Then his voice lowered. "Lessons mean someone cares." That truth rested warm in the cold. They began bracing the frame for winter tarping lumber, securing beams, organizing tools. Work that wasn't glamorous, but mattered. The kind of work Lucas once paid others to think about. Now he understood. Care is built in the invisible tasks. Samuel joined them midday, slower but determined. He supervised, offered quiet advice, corrected technique with a gentle tap on the wrist or nod of approval. His presence didn't just guide, it steadied. At lunch, they gathered around the small kitchen table. June placed stew before them, steam curling like prayer. Samuel bowed his head, and Lucas followed instinctively. Not habit, not obligation, choice. When they ate, Samuel spoke, voice thin but steady. "Life tests men two ways," he said. "By giving everything, then by talking it. Lucas felt those words settle inside him like weight and light at once. Samuel looked at him, truly looked. You've been broken. But broken soil grows the strongest crops. Lucas didn't hide from the sting. I still miss them every day. You should, Samuel replied. Grief's not the enemy. Forgetting is. Snowflakes drifted outside, the first soft messengers of the storm. The world slowed, quieted, breathed. For the first time since tragedy stole his life's center. Lucas didn't feel like a man running from ghosts. He felt like a man walking toward a life. One he was building with his own scarred hands. One nail and one dawn at a time. Work would pause for weather, but growth wouldn't. Healing didn't ask seasons for permission. Lucas looked out into the white-dusted fields and whispered, not to the past, but to the future slowly waking in him. I'm ready. By evening, snow thickened into a gentle curtain. Each flake settled on the unfinished barn, like nature blessing what hands had begun. Lights glowed warm from the farmhouse windows, cutting golden shapes into the blue twilight. Inside, the house hummed with quiet life. June folded blankets near the fireplace. Tommy sat cross-legged, sounding out words from a worn book, brow furrowed in deep concentration. Lucas leaned beside him, guiding gently when letters tangled on the boy's tongue. PH, Faith, Tommy whispered, victory lighting his face. Lucas nodded. Faith means believing without seeing, right? Tommy asked. Lucas breathed out slowly. Yes, and sometimes holding on when you want to let go. Tommy nodded, as if filing the sentence away for some future storm in his own life. Samuel rested in his chair, eyes closed, breathing slow but peaceful. Lucas watched the rise and fall of his chest, small, steady miracles. Not the loud ones life sometimes gives, but the quiet ones it expects you to notice. Later, Lucas stepped outside for wood. Snow muffled every sound. The world felt holy in its stillness. When he returned, Samuel stirred. Boy, he murmured softly, eyes opening, come here. Lucas knelt beside him, heart tightening. There was no fear this time, only gratitude and the trembling edge of emotion that comes when a man realizes he is no longer empty and is terrified to lose it. Samuel rested a weathered hand on his arm. You came here lost. Lucas swallowed. I was, and you stayed. That's what makes a man, not running when hurt. Lucas blinked hard. I didn't save myself alone. A tired smile touched the old man's lips. No one does. God builds with many hands. Silence rested between them, full, not empty. Then Samuel whispered, when spring comes, finish that barn. Fill it with life. And don't forget, healing ain't a moment. It's a road. I won't forget, Lucas promised. I'll build it. And I'll stay. Outside, wind brushed snow against the windows like soft applause from heaven. June placed a loving hand on her husband's shoulder. Her eyes met Lucas's full of pride, grief, thankfulness, all braided into one eternal thing called love. Tommy crawled into Lucas's side, small and warm, trusting him without question. Family was no longer a memory. It was here, humble, imperfect, alive. Lucas looked around, a boy learning to read, a woman of quiet strength, an aging mentor who turned a broken man into a living one again. The ache inside him didn't vanish, but it no longer hollowed him. It shaped him. Tomorrow would bring snow, and work would wait. But spring would come. And when it did, the barn would rise, not just from wood and nails, but from patience, sorrow, hope, and the stubborn miracle of choosing to stay. Lucas whispered into the warm air, voice steady as the hearth fire.